man, all of these dudes, why did you sign up for this show? Y'all suck.
Well, no,
y'all
look at
are
it.
not ready for marriage.
Out for the...
Hey everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of Mostly Harmless with Matt and Sarah. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sarah, and we are finishing up Love is Blind Season 8.
Love is blind. Love is blind. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
I have beef. I have beef with what they decided were the top 5 moments, because they were celebrating 5 years of Love is Blind. Like, I don't know. We've been married longer than the show's been on, and I feel like we don't need to like take a look back quite yet. But
it's
anyways.
like there's a reason I feel like they don't have a 5-year high school reunion. You know, like,
right.
So they went to the trouble of, and I don't recall them doing a lot of this stuff in the previous seasons, but I guess I didn't really study them as often. But they went to a lot of trouble during this reunion to do a lot of throwbacks to the season.
Yeah.
As if it wasn't the last 4 minutes of our lives that we watched.
They always try to do a thing with the finales. They always try to change it up and do something new. Two seasons ago or 2 years ago, they tried to do a live finale, and that went terribly
That went
wrong.
As well as the UFC match, right? Or was it Mike Tyson's fight against Paul?
Well, that actually went a whole lot better. Yeah. But I think that they were trying to test the waters with like live streaming, because then they ended up doing.
Netflix is getting into that business.
Yeah, now. They did a couple comedy specials, I think, live streaming, and then they did that fight, and
now the football games. Yeah.
All of those went a whole lot better than the Love is Blind reunion. That was awful. Anyways, and then last season, they brought back a whole bunch of past cast members. This year, they only brought back AD, which I like AD, but I mean, Love is Blind is not the kind of show. It's not like The Bachelor where you have like franchise favorites. You're kind of on it, and then you move on. There's
no Bachelor pad. There's no Bachelor in Paradise. It's just Love is Blind, and then maybe this Perfect Match show, I guess.
Right, and
which is only if you fail, right? Because the Perfect Match is another
dating show, right? And I'll be honest, I had inklings, or I had hope, because I had heard there was going to be an engagement on the finale. Or I'm sorry, on the reunion. And I thought it was going to be Mason proposing to Meg. And then when they said, we tried dating and it didn't work, I was like, okay, well then who the fuck's getting engaged?
Yeah. Okay, so they said there was going to be an engagement. I didn't see that.
I forget where I had heard that, but I had heard that going in. So I was like, oh, that's going to be Mason's going to be proposing. So they brought out
this chick from what, season 3 or whatever?
She was from season 6, I believe. 5 or 6.
I have no idea who this person was.
Yeah.
And this random person comes out and they shoot. It's 10 minutes of this 50-minute special.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just be honest. 30 minutes of this special were dedicated to anything but the drama that we actually wanted to see.
And I have beef with that, because I actually thought that for once, Nick and Vanessa were asking the right questions. We were kind of getting into the tea, and then we would break for like the number 4 Love is Blind, which I disagree with their list. We totally left out from season 1, Diamond, and I think his name was Carlton or something like that, where they go on the honeymoon and he reveals that he's bisexual and she flips out. How was that not? And then they get really shitty to each other. They have like a little argument spat, and then that's it. That was chaos. Jessica breaking up with Mark because she was 34 and he was 24, and that was a whole thing. Season 1, I feel like you could have done the top 5 moments just on season 1 alone.
That's the thing.
Lauren and Cameron were not part of the top 5 moments at all.
Hold on. calm your shit.
Justice for my list.
Your shit down for 5 goddamn minutes.
Coming in hot.
They said they fucking voted on it.
Okay, and the number one moment was that Jessica girl telling Jimmy
people.
that he's gonna need an inhaler.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to need an inhaler because of what you threw away. First of all, none of the top 5 moments have any place in my memory whatsoever.
Where were we supposed to vote? Yeah. I would have voted.
I don't know. But just in general, from a production level... Hold on. Let everybody just calm down.
I don't have enough Diet Coke for this.
Your outburst. People are probably turning the volume on their knobs down a little bit.
I've been told that before. Like, ooh, I have headphones in, Sarah. Like, calm down.
And so let's just give everybody a minute to get back to level here. On a production level, this was something that had... what I would consider at least an hour of content without filler. And then it was very apparent that they cut content to add this filler to build a reunion show, the likes of a Bachelor or something like that, but nobody asked for that. Like, the things that they did, they're like, oh, we're gonna throw the socks at the crowd, like the sock hamper nonsense with the chick. And the top 5 moments, here's a girl from a season that nobody fucking remembers, and there's 10 minutes of a montage of her walking down a beach with 30 cameras surrounding her and the dude's all dressed up and she's walking towards something. What's this? What's this? We know what it is. You knew what this was. This is not spontaneous, and now you're getting engaged, and I don't know who you are. All I want to see is these couples yelling at each other and actually saying questions. And every time it got interesting, they're like, oh, hold on a second. We're going to come back here just for a second.
Because we've had reunions in the past where literally Nick and Vanessa, it's like, what were you prepped on? Because why are you... Vanessa would be asking when people were going to have babies. And it's like, first of all... inappropriate. Second of all, that's not what we want to talk about.
When are you due? Excuse me?
Yeah.
I had a big lunch.
Right. So, but I feel like when Nick turns to Dave and just goes, what the hell's wrong with you? I was like, oh my God. I was like, I wish this would translate to Sister Wives reunions. That was gold. I loved it. And I really feel like all of the ladies got together, or maybe they're in a group chat, and they were like, we're not letting these dudes off the hook, because they held everyone's feet to the fire. These dudes were squirming the entire time. Every dude sucks. I mean, Daniel, I don't know. I'll reserve judgment. He didn't get the lip tattoo. Okay, he got the eyeballs tattoo.
Those are awful.
But he should have gotten the lip tattoo. So no, I'm kidding. Either Daniel and Taylor are totally adorable. But Daniel. Okay, Matt has to have a couple's name for everyone. But man, all of these dudes. Why did you sign up for this show? Y'all suck.
Well, no,
y'all
look
are not ready for marriage. Ben.
Who is the chick that pulled out the receipts out of her armpit?
Madison. And okay, I think I came on during our second installment of Love is Blind coverage, and I said, I don't get the Madison backlash. I get it now. I think looking back, I think like Alex and Mason, I don't necessarily like them. I'm not championing them. But I think Madison absolutely ruined Meg's like moment with Mason. And I think she was absolutely 2 different people dating. Like looking back and seeing how she was completely like, oh, I think he would like this version of me, so I'm going to play that up. And with the other one, I'll play this up. But yeah, so she brought the receipts, which that was a thing. Okay. Also, were any of us sitting here thinking that Alex was a good person? The one thing I will say that I hope that like Sister Wives and other reality shows that film these reunions so far ahead of when they're going to air will take a note from Love is Blind. Like maybe don't do it live, because clearly Love is Blind doesn't have the capability to do that.
No, I think they should do. I think that, just circling back real quick to the production of all this nonsense is they did this special as if it were a live star-studded event, right? A number of years ago, there was a show with Joel McHale on. Do you remember what it was called that we went to see?
It was a Netflix. They were trying to
It was like The Soup or whatever.
They were trying to revive The Soup or reboot The Soup. I don't know. It might have been called like.
No, it was. It was something with Joel
Something
McHale.
with Joel
It was
McHale.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so I had gotten us tickets to go to actually be in the audience for that because we were huge Community fans. Joel McHale's, I think he's a very funny guy. So I thought that'd be really fun to go to. So we went to go see it. And it was a small studio with a handful of people, you know, like probably half the amount of people that you saw in the Love is Blind thing. And that was the maximum of the production there. And so you're sitting there and you're there for recording a half an hour show. It takes like 2 hours, you know, with all the stops and goes and this and that. Mm-hmm. Well, for the Love is Blind reunion episode that we just saw, it was basically a larger version stage of that, but they were trying to make it seem like it was this live venue because they do, here's audience participation. And I'm sure beforehand, the audience was there for like 3 hours. I bet that event took a very long time to record. But what bothers me the most about this is at the end of it, they play this very nice song it's a bop. It's a good song.
What, by Alex Warren?
Sure, yeah.
Ordinary.
Yeah, it's got an a less industrial Imagine Dragons feel, if you could put that together if you haven't seen it. And I really dig the song and I think that he's a cool dude or whatever. It was fun.
I've seen him on The Talk.
I've never heard of him before, and they're like,
I've seen him on TikTok.
But what they did was, now, granted, remember, they said, we have heard this guy's music throughout this season of Love is Blind. Well, do you know who hasn't is the people on the show. Obviously weren't hearing, I mean, at that point they have, but they weren't hearing it live like we were hearing it when we were watching the show.
Yeah.
And then they go, and now... What was his name? Alex Warren. And now Alex Warren. And then they direct everybody to watch a music video that they shot at a completely different time on the Love is Blind set on screens up there. So he was not there live, but they were like, and now we're presenting to you the first ever Love is Blind musical guest.
Yeah.
And so they had everybody watching it on a music video, which is fine for a production level because we got to see a cool music video, but they kept cutting to the audience and then they made the audience stand up and clap.
Like they were really vibing.
And the audience was singing the words.
Yeah, they
were mouthing the words. I don't even think they put them up there. I think they played the song for people and put lyrics like they said, we want you to sing we want this. This is what we want because it looks good. Meanwhile, it wouldn't surprise me if when they had people mouthing the words that there was no music and it was just like everybody act like you're dancing and go ordinary, because they wanted to get the perfect shot. Because this show is... The Bachelor can pull off some live nonsense like that because the production team on that knows how to get an audience to do stuff when they want them to. This show does not have that gravitas. Not that there is gravitas on The Bachelor, but I feel that everything that is done that seems spontaneous is incredibly scripted.
So, but what I was saying before is I wish that, I was just thinking watching the reunion of Love is Blind, damn, because we know with Sister Wives that the reunion that we're going, or the tell-all that we're going to see this season was shot in October and it's going to play in I don't know, May or June.
Yeah,
of
life
this year.
has happened.
Yeah,
since
exactly.
Then. Yeah.
And so what I liked and what I noticed in Love is Blind is they're referencing things that happened within these last couple weeks. All these people are being like, oh, well, over the past year, you did X, Y, and Z. So don't sit on this stage and act like blah, blah, blah. We need that in Sister Wives.
Well, so was the reunion for this filmed recently?
I think so. I think it was filmed 2 or 3
Because I was going to say, I like the
Yeah.
idea of doing it live, and Netflix is getting their shit together on that for the most part. I think that's cool. I like a live show. I
don't think it necessarily needs to be live, but recent.
Well, no, but
you
I mean,
know?
that's what I'm saying, is I
Yeah.
dig the live aspect to it.
Yeah.
There's something, because now we've moved so far away from television that we're now moving, like, from cable television,
Yeah.
that we're essentially moving ourselves back to cable. What's the adage is, I started getting subscriptions because I didn't want this, but now I have to have so many subscriptions. I wonder if there was one place where all these channels were together.
That's like, I order from all these different websites. I wish there was just one place I can go and all my stores were there.
Amazon.
No, it's like, are you talking about a mall?
A mall.
Like,
I wish there was a place I could walk around and maybe get some food if I got
and
hungry.
like get my stuff that day. You know what I mean?
I have to wait.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, we live so close to an Amazon distribution center that we
Yeah,
can get stuff within
we got spoiled
hours.
by same day. I was just bitching on my Instagram stories the other day about not having a Trader Joe's in close proximity, but we do live right next to an Amazon distribution center, and the speed with which we get Amazon deliveries is quite lovely. Let's start with Ben and Sarah.
Good pivot.
I know.
Well done.
I was clunky but smooth.
Clunky but smooth.
that we should rename the podcast Clunky but Smooth. So I was actually surprised. I was surprised that Sarah said no, because her sister and her sister's partner, I forget her sister's partner's name, I'm sorry, but they were like, oh, I think she's gonna say yes. And I was like, yeah, I think this is gonna go through. What was really funny to me, well, maybe not funny is not the right word, but what was interesting to me is Sarah kind of had like a meltdown after she said no. Like, Ben was like, I totally agree. Let's just date. And she was like, oh, I don't know.
That was the best
We'll
because
see.
it's in a situation like this, and I think I said this already, it wouldn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me when people are like, hey, I don't want to marry you right now, but we can fuck around for a little bit and see what happens.
What we will find out is they did try to date after.
Right.
And this is when all these boys trying to act like men turned into a bunch of fuck boys.
Yeah, I don't understand these people.
Yeah, because, this is my big question, though, to both Devin and Sarah. Because both Devin and Sarah, I'm sorry, not Devin, Virginia. Both Virginia and Sarah had core differences. Things that you're not gonna date and figure out. These people have established values that go against your established values. You say no at the altar. What is there to figure out afterwards?
Just for the altar was my favorite part was like, she goes, I'm not gonna, I don't. And just like Sarah said, he's like, oh no, I get it. Yeah, for sure. Like, but we'll, I just want to hang out with you. And she goes, okay, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, boy.
I was the most shocked because then she walks out of the venue. I was gonna say church, but I don't think that place was a church. Yeah, but
tis a warehouse.
She walks out the venue and she's like, get me out of here. She's like, I'm fine. She reminds me of Ross and Friends, like, I'm fine. And so I think the most shocking thing to me with Ben and Sarah is finding out that they did try to date after. And, I guess justice for the TikTok girl. I don't know. I still have opinions about that. I still think it's lame and dumb to, like, this guy didn't, like, assault you or harm you. And anyway, he was just an asshole. So to get online and try to get some clout because you got ghosted by a guy that's on a reality show is, I still stand by the fact that I think that that's incredibly lame.
I got ghosted one time in my life, completely ghosted.
Yeah, be a grown up and break up with people.
And I genuinely, I know, I'm just like, that just sucked. It's like, cause it really does. It's like, I'm like, I think I only went on like 2 dates with the person.
It does suck.
But I was like, I don't even get the closure of being told I'm an asshole or something like that, which I wasn't. It's just
but
whatever.
If that girl went on to be on Love is Blind, would you?
She has a competing podcast. It's called Most Early Harmless. That was bad.
I'm gonna let you sit in that.
That was bad.
Let us
ruminate.
Let us ruminate. Just steep in it. Yeah.
Yuck.
How do you feel about it?
I'm not a fan.
Taste it?
It's not good.
Spit it out. Yeah. I don't even know where we were. Oh, so if that girl, if that girl went on to Love is Blind or The Bachelor or any of these dating shows, would you say you were single? Would you get weepy on a TikTok and be like, oh, she was such a bitch. She ghosted me.
Well, I never have downloaded TikTok, so no.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. So I stand by that it was lame, but it does establish a pattern with Ben. And I'm glad that Sarah brought that up in the reunion. Like, he essentially did that to me. And how fucked up. So let me understand, see if I understand this correctly. So they lived together for 2 weeks-ish after the wedding.
Okay, yeah. So from what I understand how the timeline was is they were living together. And then she was getting her job in another state, I believe. Right?
She still was in a travel nurse contract.
Right. So she had to go somewhere, and it was going to be a 2-month that she was going to be working. Yeah. He was going to go with her and stay with her, and he didn't need anything or a car because they were going to share their stuff, and it was going to be great. So she leaves to go. And she doesn't hear from him the entire time, and she's traveling all day.
A 12-and-a-half-hour drive.
And she goes, oh, yeah, well, I knew he was going out with his friends, so I figured I wouldn't hear from him, which had very Plathville vibes to it, where it was
Ethan
like, where because I remember this very distinctly. He's like, well, Ethan's going up to work on his cars, so it's pretty common I don't hear from him for a few days.
Yeah. When your wife has to ask you to like check in, that's a bad sign.
That's the vibe I got from that, where she goes, yeah, I was driving for 12 and a half hours and I didn't hear from him the entire time. But it's like, oh, but you know, he was hanging out with his friends. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the portable box that everyone can talk on.
And then somehow she's under the impression that she's driving out and he's going to be following right behind her. He's going to fly out. Other girls from the pods were going to come out and visit her. And she was like, oh, well, you guys can't stay with me because I'm going to have Ben with her.
Right.
She was absolutely under the impression that Ben was coming. And he was like, I thought we broke up.
Yeah, he's like, right, because then she's like, yeah, well, right before we...
I would love to have been a fly on the wall for that conversation to see how two people got such different interpretations of one conversation.
Right before they left,
yeah.
They had a date of some kind.
Yeah, and maybe they got in an argument or something.
And that's when he's like, well, I was under the impression we broke up. And never in my life, as a man, have I ever been under the impression that I've been broken up with, or that I'm still with someone that I like it. And as you know, for me, maybe it's different because I have to have clarity on things. So like it's very difficult for me to remain in a unclear situation. So if I'm confused, like, oh, hey, I really don't know if she got the message that we're breaking up, or I feel like she's trying to leave me, but she hasn't said it. I would need to know that. Yeah. Very rarely would I be like, well, I guess we're broken up, so I'm going to go fuck with some people and ignore her. And then, even though she is under full impression that we are still together. Yeah. Like,
ultimately, I think she made the right decision. And then when it was revealed that he had like gotten coached by Jimmy, from a cast member from prior seasons about how to play it at the reunion.
Yeah, I think the production team has them reach out to legacy cast members to be like, you know, talk to them to navigate the ebbs and flows and the pitfalls and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he reaches out to her like a month before they're supposed to do this reunion. And he goes, hey, or I guess from her perspective, it was, hey, let's make sure we have all of our answers great so that we can put on a good show. And from his acknowledgement, he goes, well, I just was talking to Jimmy from a previous season. He said that we should make sure that we have all of our answers in the right places. And it's like, or you should just be live and like you're supposed. You know what I mean? None of this is meant to be coached.
Yeah.
And so I would have thrown him under the bus because I bet you he reached out to her assuming this was not going to be talked about.
Yeah.
I would have been like. Yes, she reached out to me saying, let's make sure we put on the best show possible. Meanwhile, I was on this for love, not to put on a show.
Well, she essentially said that, but she did it in a classy way. Yeah. She didn't drag him for filth, but she was very clear that that moment, like that phone call, she said gave her clarity because that is who Ben is. He's much more worried about the public's perception of him rather than treating her with common decency.
Yeah.
And you know, everyone sees that now. So if you are considering getting into a relationship with literally any of the dudes on season 8, you might want to take a pause and really
the long-haired dude that we did.
The perfect segue into Joey and Monica. Fuck Joey.
Maybe next time we do, maybe from now on, I'll get a whiteboard for this.
We need a flow chart for sure.
No. I need pictures and names so that because if you're seeing over here and she brings up names, you might see my head just being like, who are we talking about?
No, so, wow. I have never done a 180 on a cast member. I don't think ever the way I have on Joey. The first 6 episodes, I was like, oh my God, they're so cute. And yeah, they definitely never progressed out of that like awkward, frantic, like awkwardness around each other.
Or he acknowledged that.
Yeah.
They never got comfortable.
Yeah. Because he's a D-bag.
Explain.
Okay, so first of all, I don't know.
I called him being a D-bag.
Yeah, this is kind of a chicken egg situation because I can't tell. I feel like I owe Monica's sister an apology because
just because you were right or you were incorrect about the situation does not mean that she was not a raging bitch.
And that's like the chicken egg situation. Because Joey is saying Monica's sister ruined our relationship because we talked in the pods about how close we were to our sisters and blah, blah, blah. And then I meet Monica's sister and she's like a total hater. But it's like, did she just clock him right off the bat?
No, I'm going to put this stamp down again because I'm pretty sure I said it last episode is when you go ahead and you start with I know I could just be kind of a bitch sometimes, but that's just who I am. You know, like that's how the sister kind of talked about herself, where she was just like, I'm a very direct person. That's how I talk. That's not an acceptable personality type. That's just you refusing to change your shitty behavior.
And she was salty about her like 5 years younger sister getting married before her, but she showed up to the wedding. She looked beautiful. People were like, oh, she wore black. I think that was Monica's chosen colors. I don't think that had anything to do with... And I thought she looked beautiful. She took beautiful engagement pictures. I think Nicole tried to get there with Joey. But Joey, I could not find you lamer skateboarding into your wedding. I know that the thing now, ever since, in The Office, when they do the like... dance thing down the aisle. So like, in the social media era, it's kind of like a thing now to like be unique, have your walking down the aisle be unique. I get that.
I'm gonna put up a thing. You don't have to.
Yeah.
No, there's nowhere.
Skateboarding down the aisle to me says you don't give a fuck about this wedding.
We're gonna put up some text here. It says there's nowhere written that you have to make your wedding super fucking unique.
Yeah. It was funny. I asked you like what you wanted to wear for our wedding, tuxedo. And you said a black and white tuxedo.
Yeah. Or
you didn't want
black tuxedo with a white stripe.
Yeah, you didn't want to reinvent the wheel.
I don't, and this is me, and I've seen some very, really well done wedding tuxedos and stuff, but I don't want to wear a blue suit or a red suit. Like dark red is cool, but I don't think I could pull it off. And I'm like, I wanted just a black tux. Get the guys wearing black, no pops of flair or like, oh, everybody's wearing, armbands that have their own personal like favorite superheroes on them or something like that. I'm like, it's a wedding. It's not a kid's birthday party, like, and that's the thing. I'm like, and with women and their dresses, it's not like the white dress has gone out of style or anything like that. Like a black tux is perfectly fine. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't need to put that much thought into what I'm going to wear. It's been written.
Joey actually put a lot of thought into his ensemble. I feel like he tried to make the entire day a shtick. Everyone was dressed like speaking of Trader Joe's, they all looked like they were in their fanciest Trader Joe's outfits. Yeah, they were in Hawaiian flower shirts, and that was like a whole thing. I feel like Joey thinks that he's so cute, and it's like, I'm not impressed.
Oh, he always talks like, I'm so excited.
You're not a grown man. You might do adult things, like you have an adult job. You're better with money than your mom was, or whatever. So kudos to you, but you're emotionally immature and not ready for a relationship, and because of that, you break people's hearts. So boo, Joey.
I didn't like him.
Because Monica is sitting here. First of all, Monica's gorgeous. For her to have to sit there, and maybe she's just not your type. Whatever. Different strokes for different folks. But she had to sit there and say, watching back their segments was really uncomfortable for her, because she could tell how not into her Joey was. And then to find out, this also was surprising to me, that they actually continued on after the after the experiment as well. And they did hook up maybe once, maybe twice. There seems to be some sort of debate on that. Yeah. The fact that she had to sit there and she's like telling herself as she's watching, like, he's just not that into you. It was surprising to me that they did test the waters afterwards, because, again, just like with Virginia, just like with Sarah, I feel like the reason why these people said no at the altar was not because we're just not quite there. It's because there is something fundamentally not right with our pairing that I can't marry you. And to me, none of that was going to be solved by giving it a little more time.
What was the couple that actually got married? The first two, was that
Taylor and Daniel. Well, they saved their marriage or their wedding for the end. I actually fell asleep during Devin and Virginia's wedding, and I've seen them all, but the first time we watched it, I fell asleep during Devin and Virginia, and I feel like I didn't really miss much.
No, well, I just thought it was silly at the beginning of this reunion. They were just like, they were, again, it's weird to me, and I get it's the shtick of the whole thing. Let's make references to something we all just watched like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, that like, he follows me.
Yeah,
and
it's so funny. And there's no way this was spontaneous, because she almost tripped over her words trying to say it correctly. So they wrote this for her to say.
Sure.
She goes like, it's like, so what's been going on with you guys? What's been going on? Like, oh my gosh. And she's just like, yeah, we have this weird thing where he'll like follow me into a room all around the house all day, and I'll be like, stop following me. So he'll unfollow me, and then he'll follow me again and unfollow me. Yeah. Get it? Because that's the thing that happened. And I'm like, and it was, if you haven't seen it yet, it was almost just said just the way I said it. Like, they didn't want to say it. It was very clearly written. Yeah. Like, it wasn't funny. And that was kind of push through it.
Yeah, we can talk about them now. That was really the drama with them this season. Other than that, they were
stalking me.
They were completely adorable. And to find out, I thought that the little montage they played with them, first of all, their wedding was lovely. All of the women looked so amazing at the weddings that I felt sad that for Well, I didn't love the venue, so I'm okay that 3 of these, this is not your wedding venue. I feel bad for Taylor that this was her wedding venue, but she looked gorgeous. Monica looked gorgeous, Virginia looked gorgeous, Sarah looked gorgeous. I felt bad for them that like it was all for naught. But anyways, with Taylor and Daniel, we find out that was it his mom, Daniel's mom, has cancer, and she's going to be getting a bone marrow transplant.
I
And
must have missed that.
he actually had been staying, or his dad was staying with Taylor's brother because Taylor's brother lives really close by to the hospital that Daniel's mom was getting treatment at. So I'm like, that is so lovely to hear. They seem to have a really nice relationship, and there's not a lot of drama there. There's a lot of drama with everyone else. Joey sliding into Madison's DMs, and I'm sorry. So you're telling me that this guy, after this is before the wedding, by the way. This is after they go that tubing date, and then all the people show up after that. He DMs Madison like cute hair.
I like your pink hair.
Oh, and I was just being nice. No.
I don't comment on most people's anything because, just don't feel like it. But like, if I'm blind texting out of nowhere and looking for something to say that might start a conversation,
exactly,
that might go
that
somewhere,
was yeah.
Oh wow, and it's textbook as a guy. All right, you don't want to act like you're prowling for
exactly.
for,
you're testing the waters.
But
yeah.
you need to. It's basically like, okay, you need to mention something about her that's specific to her, and something that might be different from the last time you saw her, so that she can tell that you noticed both her back then and that there's a change now to incite a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like psychological. Like, okay, how are we going to do this? Great, boom. You know what I mean? It's like they always, how to pick up women. Like, always comment on something specific about them. It's like you read a book, I like your hair.
You will not convince me. Joey will not be able to sit here and convince me that he wasn't trying to tiptoe into a flirtation.
Funny you should say that, because Joey, come on out. Come on out.
What did you think of Virginia and Devin? Because I think that Devin appeared to be the most caught off guard by the no from Virginia, but other people were speculating that was mostly a put on, that he was aware that this was going to be
I don't
no.
think I find it genuinely difficult to believe that anyone got up there and did not know the direction it was going to go. I find it very hard to believe. I also believe that if there were any sort of like, where they talked about it, because they have to have talked about it. It's been cut so that the mystery remains for us, but the mystery is not there for them. I think a lot of them went up there, and it's like, you need to do your best to make it seem like you're going to say yes if you're going to say no, guys. Like, you can't just be like, like when Taylor and Daniel got married, their nonsense was legitimately, like, not nonsense, but everyone else was a will they, won't they, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Their montage started with, and he wrote me a letter saying, I can't wait to marry you today. It's definitely going to happen.
Definitely
Absolutely not
no.
a red herring. We're not trying to throw anybody off. We're getting married in 13 minutes.
Which is why they put them last. It was like, let us put a nice bow on this.
Yeah, and then they read her letter to him, and it was, yes, I also agree. We're getting married. For sure. Not going to make anything
Definitely
weird for
not saying no.
Yep. See you in a few minutes. My future husband, XOXO. Love you. Yeah. And so it was, Sarah had slept through this part the first time, and I was just like, well, oh boy, I wonder if they're going to get married, Sarah. I'm like, I really wonder where this one's going to go.
Yeah. Well, but with Devin and Virginia, two things I wanted to touch on from the reunion. One thing I really appreciated about Virginia is she was like, I'm not going to sit here and put words in Devin's mouth. He doesn't want to talk about whatever his core values are on TV, that's fine, but I will tell you what my core values are. I thought that was a classy way to like kind of, get her little jab in that, like, you know, that she definitely disagrees with his take on certain things, which it's like, that wasn't gonna change by dating after the pods. And I don't think that they really dated after the wedding, but there was like communication. And then she said that he like just stopped returning her, like she got ghosted.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And of course he goes, I disagree.
What's up with ghosting? Like, why are we not grown-ups? Have that hard conversation.
I think ghosting is the most, like, not only is it super fucking disrespectful, but it's childish. It's like,
be a grown-up.
All right, you're not having a good time. I very rarely did I do the breaking up in my younger days, you know, because I was just happy to have somebody around. But like, I broke up with someone one time. And I literally was like, it wasn't anything in particular except for I wasn't really happy. And I wasn't having a lot of fun, but it wasn't anything to do with them necessarily. And I remember just pulling the ripcord. I was like, hey, listen, I'm not happy in this relationship. And I basically almost worded it to the point of like, I feel like at this age, I should be really happy and I'm not.
Well, and if someone's can't take a hint or something, like if you've had the conversation and they're like, so you're saying there's a chance, if you've made it explicitly clear and they don't seem to be getting it, then okay, block the number.
Yeah, but if you got somebody who thinks that they're on a level and it's just like, I don't know, it's dumb, and it's like a new trend. It's trendy to fucking ghost people, you know what I mean? And it shouldn't be.
It's lame.
So, like, okay,
you look lame.
If you went on one date and you don't want to go on another date, and that's fine, like, that's the old, that's how it was done. You know, okay, I guess I never heard from him, we're not going to go on another date. That's different. But if you've seen someone a couple times and you can't say, I'm not interested, this is not for me, like, it's childish. And you
have no business being on a show about getting married if you have the inclination to just dip out on a relationship you're no longer interested in.
And because we're not talking about like, I'm not talking about like you've been with someone, they're a piece of shit, or and there's really bad things. We're talking about just fucking off.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no reason for it, and it's just you're kind of a piece of shit if you do that. And that's all. Like, so if you are watching this and you feel you're being personally attacked because you like to ghost people, you are a piece of shit.
I don't think that anyone who watches us ghost people. We're much more high caliber than that. We get petty. We get our little jabs in.
Cha-cha.
Yeah, like just we're
but
the ones
we break
who
up with people. We make it abundantly clear.
We call the person up and go, just to let you know, breakup still on.
Hey, just calling you. I know it's been 7 years. You're married. I'm married. We have kids. But I want you to know, I still do not want to be in a relationship with you.
We're the anti-ghosters. We don't let things.
Every year on New Year's Eve, Sarah and I call everyone we've ever dated to remind them that we do not want to be with them. And though some of them have changed phone numbers.
I was just talking about this, about I've had this, God forbid my number ever gets leaked or anything like that, but I've had the same phone number since I was 16 years old. I am very attached to my cell phone number. And there are people out there that just, anytime they switch carriers or anytime they get a phone, it's like, oh yeah, I'll just take a new number. I don't understand that.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the day when I was 18 and I got my first, I had a cell phone prior, but then my mom didn't want to pay for it. And then when I got my first cell phone, there was no option to take your number with you when I was 18. At least they didn't offer it. And then to be fair, I let a lot of my cell phone plans just lapse and then start a new one with whoever was offering like free phone with this. But it definitely wasn't as easy now as it was now, because now you don't even need to, like, the carriers will deal with that themselves. I feel like back in the day you had to do a lot more, like, I need to like crowbar my number from Verizon to bring it to AT&T.
So the way it works, it's called a port. Let me give you a little history lesson.
In case you were here for Love is Blind.
Yeah. I worked at Verizon for, I don't know, like 5 years. It's it's called porting. And yeah, so what's interesting is the carrier that originates the number will, if you ever disconnect that number, it will go back to that original carrier. So if I ever lose my phone number or disconnect it, it will go back to Sprint, because Sprint is the company that I had when I first got my cell phone.
I had Singular at one point,
which is now AT&T.
AT&T.
But now, yes, I think it was actually a law was passed a long time ago in the early 2000s that you have to be allowed to take your number from carrier to carrier. They have to allow you to port your phone number.
I don't think that we need to talk about this too much, but yeah, it always was odd to me that it's like, it's a number and I'm using it. Like,
yeah. So all you need is your account number. Yeah. Anyway, there
you go. You got a little bit of that. I don't even remember how we got on this tangent.
I don't either, but we can circle back. The other thing I wanted to talk about with Virginia and Devin was this check.
Oh, yeah. You mean his shoe money?
Because, well, I wanted to know. I'm going to be so interested to hear everyone's takes on this, because I feel like this is an interesting conversation to have.
I think it's a conversation that needed to happen because it never did happen.
This was the tea. I wanted, you started. What happens when you get wedding gifts? Because people are showing up at your wedding, presumably with gifts.
Well, hold on, Sarah.
What happens to those gifts?
Before we get to that, let's talk about something completely and unnecessarily different. The number 5 top best things on this show. Because every time they get to something interesting, they'd cut away to something super asinine to me. Like,
and I will say it again and I'll say it again. I disagree with the top 5 moments. Wherever you were voting,
you voted wrong.
You voted wrong.
I know you're not allowed to tell people.
It's like an American Idol. It's like, you got it wrong.
I know you're not allowed to tell people that you didn't vote correctly, but you didn't vote correctly.
Yeah. That number 1 moment, no.
But
the check.
So
I'm gonna leave that just gap of time in there.
So she had mentioned this $1,000 check. So his mom's boss, his mom, well, yeah,
or mom's coworker.
His mom told her that my boss gave you guys $1,000 check. Isn't that fucking awesome? Basically, like, great. Yeah. Which is a little weird to me because I feel like you don't talk about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you hand someone an envelope and that's usually the end of it. Like, a thank you card is nice, but it's very rare that you go and be like, hey, I appreciate what you gave me. Like, let's talk about it a lot, but whatever. So before this, she had said, I know that he was given $1,000 check by his mom's boss, and he has never said dick about it to me. And it's not, I don't know where the check is. Don't know if he cashed it. No, all this other stuff.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, okay. So let's go back to square one. If you get a gift for a wedding that doesn't happen, I say you give the gift back. What do you say? Yeah, no, I mean, for sure, to a degree. Like, here's the thing: if I bought you a toaster, I don't want my fucking toaster back. Well, and they actually brought that up on The Office at one point. Yeah. They were like, "Hey, I bought you guys some stuff. But I already got you a gift for Pam and Roy's wedding. I bought you stuff. Do I have to buy a gift for you and Jim? Yes, you do." No, I think if it's financial, I mean, that's kind of tricky though, because it sucks that your whole thing blew up. I don't think personally I would expect a check I gave someone back. I would not go out of my way to cancel it because in my head that's done. Like, that's money out. Presumably though, you give the gift because you are saying, here is this to help you guys start your lives together. And now you're not starting your lives together. Right. But I do think that it is like if I handed money to, like a guy on the street, you know what I mean? Yeah. That money's gone. Whether that guy's going to use it for buy food or whatever. I was just going to say, I don't think that Devin gave the check back. No, I don't. But I wanted to go there, and then we break for another installment of this top 5 list. Right. But I wanted to know what happened to the check. At the very least, if you weren't going to give the check back, which I think that's my top of, that would be the classiest thing to do, would be to return it. My second classy scenario would be for them to split it.
Right.
And obviously, Virginia is saying that didn't happen.
No, she said that
Yeah.
that it didn't even get brought up ever.
Then how did she find out about it?
The mom told her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like the mom was she's not trying to stir shit. She was just being nice,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, how about that? Isn't it so great that he gave you guys a check?
Right.
And I'm sure that it wasn't even like gave you $1,000. I'm sure it was like, oh, isn't it so nice that my boss gave you guys that check? Like I just want to make sure you got it or something like that. 'Cause I don't think she was trying to stir shit, but it's wild to me that because I think. Honestly, where I land on that is anything that you gave someone for a wedding is done. It doesn't matter, especially if that doesn't go through. I'm not expecting anything.
Oh,
back.
I'm of the opinion that you return the gifts. That's tacky.
Here's the
I don't know.
if it gets to the reception, which is where most people give their cards, anyways, the marriage happens. If the marriage breaks up the next day, what am I gonna be like? Cool, hey, I gave you that money. I would like it back.
We were fielding gifts for our wedding before leading up to.
Yeah, but we got the bulk of them at the wedding reception. We got
the
bulk
of the cards,
Yeah.
but man, everything was coming to our apartment or to the shop.
Yeah.
Like for
I don't know. It's money spent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I would never expect it back. I've actually
either.
gotten people gifts and their marriages haven't worked out, and I have given probably neither the fact their marriage didn't work out or the gift a second thought. Like, it's just that I've earmarked that money for Bob or Larry or whoever, and they have that. Sorry, it didn't work out. Enjoy the money. Like, because now you have to rebuild your life all over again.
Yeah. Even though we don't know.
Excuse me.
Even though we don't know what actually happened, I think the most likely scenario is that.
Shiz.
What?
Shoes.
Yeah. Oh, shoes. Yeah. 100%. Devin saw that and was like, shoes for sure. So that is, he was like, sweet. I just signed a prenup. This is my money. I'm sure that would have been how he would have argued that. Like, possession is 9/10.
Yeah, I don't think
law.
that he was ever going to get over the prenup thing anyways, which
True.
As we know how we landed on this, so we don't need to hash this out again. But I don't think he was ever going to get over that, so that made sense that didn't pile through. But it is weird to me that maybe he didn't bring it up because of this whole prenup nonsense.
Yeah,
maybe he never brought up
like,
the check.
I'm going to hide behind that.
Yeah, like, here's my safety net. We all know, and we've all seen the meme go around, $1,000 is not a lot of money to have, but it is certainly a lot of money to owe.
And that is facts. That is facts. That is facts.
Like, $1,000 spends real quick, but if you owe somebody $1,000, you're paying that back over a few months.
Yeah. Overall, what were your thoughts about season 8?
It was real boring in the first drop was super boring. Mm-hmm. Like I frankly probably could have started at the second drop of episodes, which was 3 episodes instead of 6 episodes. And I would have probably had the same outlook on the series because again, names are difficult for me to remember. But I think it picked up. I like how we pivoted on some characters. The development of the show progressed in a way that I enjoyed it.
I thought that Nick and Vanessa did a better job in this reunion of asking questions that we wanted answers to. There was obviously fluff. There's always going to be fluff in a reunion. So I'm not necessarily even mad at like the musical performance list. I just disagree with the actual list. Yeah,
and that's all fine.
I will put together a list.
All that stuff is fine. But like, if you're gonna pepper nonsense in, pepper it into a 2-hour finale or a 2-hour reunion.
Yeah, because
there was not enough time to cover the people we actually wanted to hear more shit. Because you could tell they were chopping up these arguments to make them more succinct. I'm like, I want them to be messy.
I was going to say, because we didn't really talk about Lauren and Dave, but I thought that
they were about to hash out some real conversations.
And of all the couples that were no longer together, I got the vibe that there were still feelings there. Like, she brought up a good point. Like, you've had my number for a year and, you're saying all this now on stage,
also,
on TV.
On stage, he's like, yeah, there were just some things that we couldn't get over. And she goes, we? And he's like, that I couldn't get over it. And we're like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I still hold fast to that stupidity that he had. Like, you can't get over this means that you are not here for the right
And then we
reasons.
find out that this guy wasn't really a good friend of
Right.
his. He's
Yeah.
a clout chaser.
Yeah, he's literally going and he's like, yeah, it turns out that guy wasn't that great. And I don't know why I was listening to him, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we kind of slipped back into drunk him mode where it's just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish we could.
You can
peter
tell
things
that
up.
he knows he fucked up.
Yeah.
He fucked up a real good thing. And good.
She was cute.
Good.
She was cute.
She's beautiful. All of
And-
the girls are beautiful.
And it's just like the thing that he couldn't get over was not something that was fundamental to her being, but he was acting like you're just going to be tramping around and slazzing it up like while we're together. She was hooking up with a dude, which is perfectly fine. And again, there is a double standard there. Women can hook up with people the same way dudes can hook up with people. And I think it's silly that anyone would think it different. Like, and the fact that she has said that, like, I don't get why, because and other people, well, when was the last time you hooked up with someone? Oh, it doesn't matter because I'm just never going to get over her hooking up with somebody the day before. It's like, dude, like, relax. She didn't even know who the fuck you were. Like, again, you can't hurt someone you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's no active sabotage when you don't know who the person is. Yep, you did something that now it doesn't look great because of where you're at. I'm like, but he took that personally when it literally, there's no way it could have even ever had anything to do with him because he did not exist prior to this show to her. And that is why it is so funny to me because he just can't get over it.
I do love that they take a poll. Like, raise your hand if you think you can totally bang it out before, you go on a show about getting married. And it cuts to Lauren and she goes, oh, my grandma watches this show.
Yeah, I don't know. But and again, they were talking and they were communicating, which was nice. And I'm sure that exchange was way longer, but we had to cram it into an hour. And then again, Netflix. One thing I liked, just kind of roll into this. Hulu did a show a while back. It was a show that they I forget exactly what it was about, but what was interesting is that each episode it was scripted. They wrote the episode, shot it, and it was as long as it took to tell that episode's story.
Oh.
So again, Hulu, it's not a network. It's not cramming into a time slot. It's releasing. These are shows that are releasing digitally with they release at 9, but it's not from 9 to 10. You can only watch
you're
this
not
show.
filling a
so
slot or
the fact that we're
something,
still on these arbitrary 46-minute, hour-long shows, 55-minute, hour-long shows when there's no commercials, like you're still timing shows like we're on a network. There was room to make this. You could have even done another drop for a 2-hour, a 3-hour long, like broken up reunion because this is where the content really is in this show. You wasted 6 episodes that are forgettable at the beginning of this. You couldn't have crammed another one in there. So it is like odd to me that you still felt the need to keep it an hour long. Like, you could have made it an hour and a half even and use that half hour for the stupid stuff that nobody gave a shit about. The show you're advertising a different show on here. Getting teasing an engagement of people that I don't fucking even know. You know what I mean? It just
seems good for them.
But it's good for them. But it's like when you say there's going to be an engagement on a show that you just watched, you assume it has something to do with the people you just watched. That'd be like, oh, there was an engagement on the show. Oh, really? Who got engaged? A couple audience members happened to get engaged before they went in there. We didn't even mention it, but it happened.
Something that, because we find out in this reunion that the next city for Love is Blind is going to be Denver, Colorado. And something you like irrationally hated was the way that they announced that with the passing of the ball between the football
They got
players.
a football player from the Vikings and a football player from the Broncos. And it was these two people who obviously had signed some agreement. and they did not want to do this.
No,
And
yeah.
the guy's like, and I don't know any of the players' names.
They drew the short straw around
the first
their
guy who
teammates.
was filming this video on his Motorola Razr because of how great the fucking video was. Meanwhile, an iPhone can shoot a movie.
Yeah.
But this guy couldn't get a clear video of himself doing something that took 30 seconds. Hey, this is so-and-so from the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Thanks for being in our city, and here's the next guy. And he tosses a football, and the other guy on the Broncos catches the football.
Yeah.
And I'm from the Broncos, and I'm here to tell you that the next city is going to be Denver. And both of them had shitty grain video.
Yeah, what was up with that?
And I'm like, dude, like I could take a video and throw my phone across the room and it'll be 4K. What are you? You're football players with $1 million contracts. What are you using for your phone?
Yeah.
And that is bothersome to me. Like, how is there quality issues today? They weren't FaceTiming where you might have some packet loss. Like, they were recording a 30-second video. Like, the videos I take of my kids are movie quality.
Right.
Like,
I think they actually have shot like videos and music videos.
They have.
On completely using
I remember
iPhones.
when the iPhone 6 came out, they shot a music video entirely on the iPhone 6.
Yeah.
And it was the same quality of these like Sony cameras.
For the first year of my YouTube channel, I recorded on my iPhone.
I still think you can record on your iPhone, but that's, you know, neither here nor there.
Not enough space, but anyways.
Well, there's, yeah. But like, yeah, it was wild to me that there was these grainy found footage videos of these people who were contractually obligated.
Yes, definitely under duress.
Yeah, like, oh, thanks guys, I appreciate it. And it was the, and then the other guys, like, come on.
And you know, both of them were like, I don't fucking watch this show.
Again, that could have been entertaining. But you did it in such a way that those people didn't seem to want to fucking participate. So find someone who does.
Yeah.
You're telling me you can't find a comedian from Minnesota? There are plenty of them. Or a comedian from Denver.
Or like the cheerleaders or whatever.
Like there are people who would give a shit about this. Those football players.
A local news reporter.
Those football players. Yeah, like this just in. But something fucking like that. No, these people are just like, God, love is what? What do you? I don't give a shit about this. You got to do it because it's part of your contract or something. Like you signed this endorsement deal. This is what you got to do. Fine. Hi. I'm gonna put half my thumb over the camera. Blah 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 blah. Still don't know how that video. Like I don't even think it's possible to shoot a video of that caliber in today's society. But whatever. The 1920s called. And they want their phonograph back. You silly bitch.
Anything else, Matthew?
I don't have anything else.
We're really excited to move on to other topics.
I'm just excited to move on.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Love Is Blind is it's condensed. You know, it's like a 4-week time commitment, and
it's a good cream of mushroom soup.
Yeah,
it's condensed. But when it's used in the right context, it can make something beautiful.
That was so artistic and
very poetic,
eloquent.
That's what I try to do. All right, but anyway, we gotta go. We got people to see, people to put down, things to do, animals to put out, and all the nonsense.
We're not putting anyone down.
Not putting anyone down, except for some of the people on the show. We put them down
for a nap.
To nap.
Yeah.
But you can find us anywhere on the social medias at Do Mostly No Harm. Go to www.level42studios.com to see any of the projects that we all work on in different capacities. Sarah Spills, Reality Squad, all the latest videos are available on the show page. You can go to the contact page, submit a request for a show for us to talk about, a topic for us to talk about, or just a general question, comment, or concern. We are available wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review.
Yeah, and if you feel for some reason we are undeserving of a 5-star review, you can go ahead and skip that part.
Just leave a 5-star review somewhere else. Just leave somebody a 5-star review. Do your part. That's good.
Pay it forward.
Don't worry about us. Leave anyone a 5-star review today.
Go tell someone how much you appreciate them.
But we gotta go, so as always,
do mostly
no harm.
Have a good one, you guys. Bye.